All right. Can you tell us what your full name, when and where you were born?
Jessica Ann Thompson. I was born in Boonville, Missouri.
What brought you to this area?
So I actually have lived here all my life. My parents grew up here. I've lived here for the last 46 years, so born and raised.
Um, what were some of your childhood memories growing up?
So growing up as a kid here in Marshall, you know, I always say back in the day, we used to play outside and go home when the street lights came on,
Hmm.
or mom would have to come outside and call us home. Um, there were bicycles all over in everybody's front yard, and not like it is today.
Yeah,
Kids
no.
are inside playing games,
Video
and
games on their iPads and
yeah,
stuff.
so we always had the neighborhood gang kids. Like we all hung out.
Growing
So
up, I actually we're probably one of the last quote unquote generations to actually play outside. Because I actually played outside. Now when I'm driving around,
and
kind
I
of
lived right next to Dairy Queen. So we
oh,
would
so
walk to Dairy Queen, and then
mm,
we also had IGA, and we walked to the store to get, candy bars and pops and stuff like that.
yeah, it's so different now. It's
It
just drive
is.
around, get Sonic.
Yep.
That's all we do now.
Yeah.
Um, Describe your family and what life was like growing up well,
So
in
I
Saline.
am the second child. I have an older sibling, and then I have two younger. So I have a sister and then two younger brothers. So, I mean, there was always something going on. Um, but growing up, we were a close family.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, there was a lot more things to do as a kid and with your siblings and things back in the day than there is now.
And what did kids do for fun back in the day?
So we on Friday and Saturday nights would meet at the skating rink with our friends and
We don't
go
have that
skating.
now.
There actually were two skating rinks. One actually had wood floors, and the other one, was the main one. But there were two options to go to. But that was our hangout spot. Was the skating rink. So it was fun. We'd play the dice game. They had a big old dice that they threw, and you had to go to a corner,
Hmm.
and yeah, people got eliminated. So
You don't have any of that nowadays. It's just the hangout is come to Walmart and mess around. But I work here now, so
yeah, you can't really do
can't do
that.
that anymore. What were jobs like, or what jobs did you have?
So actually, this has been my only job I've ever had. When I was
Hmm.
16, I got a job at Walmart. It was actually at the old location. I was a cashier. It was fun because as a teenager, we closed at 10, and um, we kind of goofed off afterwards, or
Hmm.
we'd sit in the parking lot and talk and just hang out. You don't see a lot of that now, but
Yeah, it's straight home.
yeah,
Right after you get
yeah,
off, straight home.
yeah. We would just sit out there and hang out, but Sonic wasn't there, and Aldi's was next door at the time, so that was pretty cool.
What schools did you attend, and what were schools like when you were younger?
So I got to attend all of the schools. So of course, Southeast for kindergarten, and then
Hmm.
Benton, and then back to Southeast, and then Eastwood and Northwest. And those were when they were specific. Like fourth grade went to Northwest. It
Hmm.
wasn't split up. And then I went to Beaker, fifth through eighth, and then the high school. Um, I mean, I feel like the kids maybe they were a little bit closer than they are now.
Definitely.
Um, People would go to their friends'
Hmm.
houses, and nowadays, you're kind of scared to let your kid go anywhere. But we'd go have sleepovers, hang out. We were constantly at a friend's house.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I wish we still had those nowadays.
yeah.
Everyone's just
Well, you can't.
shy.
Well, that and you can't really you worry about where your kids go. I
Hmm.
mean, just because of the world we live in now.
Yeah.
So,
What classes did they offer, and did you take them? And what was your favorite subject?
so my favorite subject was math. Um, I know most of the
Math.
classes were, about the same. But my my class that was not my favorite was Spanish class. But we also had MHS singers, and so that was fun. Um,
You don't
and
like
with
Spanish?
that, yeah, I wasn't very
It's
good at
probably the
it.
teacher. We have a Miss Hernandez now. She does a great job at teaching.
Yeah,
Because she's a little easy to get along with, so
yeah.
probably the reason why.
With MHS singers, at the end of the year, we got to do the pop assembly,
Yeah,
and the
we had
pop
something like that.
assembly was totally different than what it is now. We actually, they would dress up. We'd have out, like
Hmm.
yeah, it was.
I
I
believe
thought a lot better, but
our pop assemblies are right. Just a couple of songs.
yeah,
Maybe they'll dress up, but
yeah, it was
it's,
pretty cool. They had dancing. I mean, they did the dancing and all that, but yeah.
if you can remember, like who were the main teachers at the time?
Well, Mr. Garinger,
Mm-hmm.
he's
Mr.
still
Gant.
there. We had Mr. Samwith. Um, I'm trying to think. Ms. Brady Hoff, Miss Crawford, some really good teachers. Um, Mr. Holder. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, the ones I remember. Miss Cooley, she was in the uh, PE. But yeah.
Or activities or sports that were popular.
Um, well, of course, football has
Hmm.
always been popular,
Yeah.
and basketball. I played tennis. There's a lot from my class, girl wise, that we played tennis. Um, but for the most part,
Were there any sports that you guys didn't have back then that you do now?
I'm trying to think. I don't know so much if they had really had a soccer. I mean, I think they had soccer, but it wasn't as popular.
Hmm.
Um, but we also had, I mean, which you all have the flag people, but we had twirlers. I mean, we had
Hmm.
more than one twirler.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, for the most part, I think we basically had the same thing that you all had. It just, the soccer wasn't
Hmm.
as popular.
What were you involved in within the school?
So I was I kind of kept to myself type thing.
Hmm.
Um, of course, tennis and pep club, which we had pep club. You all have what, birdcage?
Birdcage,
Yeah.
yeah. We're trying.
So
Just everyone's,
yeah,
"Oh, I don't want to cheer."
and I was in choir.
Hmm.
So, but other than that, I mean, I kind of kept to myself.
Tell me about your career after high school. Did you go to college, trade school, workforce, maybe even the military?
So I actually, with working at Walmart, they worked with me, and I went to State Fair for 2 years, and then I transferred to Valley. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went into teaching, and then I decided to change my career path and went into human services and recreation. So I graduated in 2004 from Valley, but I stayed with Walmart. So I've been here
Hmm.
for 30 years now. So,
Dang.
yeah.
And around this time, what was it like to like date in this area, and like what would be the things you guys would do?
So, we would cruise the strip.
Hmm.
Um, at the time, we had IGA, and so we'd cruise through IGA, go down the strip,
Hmm.
turn around at Community Bank's parking lot, sit at Sonic when it was on Odell, and talk.
Hmm.
But mostly just cruising. I mean, yeah.
Are there any businesses, buildings, landmarks that used to be here that aren't anymore?
So of course IGA is gone. They've
Hmm.
tore it down. Um, we used to have like J.C. Penney's,
What?
and we don't have J.C. Penney's anymore. Off the square, um, right across from the movie theater, there used to be buildings that had like
Hmm.
the ice cream shop. It had a clothing store there, and they tore that all down. But um, trying to think of what else we've had that. Of course, the old McDonald's is gone.
Weren't there For sure, heard a couple of people talking about how there used to be stores by the dealerships, they aren't there anymore.
Yeah, I don't remember what those were, but we also had down in IGA. We
And
used to
IGA's
have a Family Dollar.
hmm
We also had movie where you went and rented movies. So that was a big thing. And
hmm
over here by Subway used to be a place where you could go rent movies. So, a lot of times we'd go rent a VHS or
VHS.
it came out on DVD.
Now you just buy things or rent them
Yeah, now
online.
you can just get them on. Yeah,
hmm
you don't need them anymore.
what were some of your memories of like popular music, TV, sports, and other things?
So back then we watched 90210. That was a popular TV show. I was more into like the country music
hmm
um, versus the you know rap or pop or anything like that because
hmm
I dated a guy that was country, so
hmm
of course that's the route I went. But yeah,
Uh, what are you most proud of in your life?
the most thing the my kids. I
hmm
have a daughter that is 14 and a son that is 11, and they are my pride and joy.
hmm
So I did get married in 2009 and divorced in 2016, but they are the best thing that came out of it, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
hmm
So, and also being able to say that I've stayed with my job for 30 years. So,
Yeah. I kind of shift into like community history and like some of the changes. How has the community changed over the years?
I don't feel that the community is as close as it used to be. Like,
hmm
I feel like there was more involvement um, than there is now. I feel like, of course, people have opinions, and I feel like there's a lot of negative versus positive. Um,
hmm
I feel like we were closer when I was younger, and that could just be from my perspective as a young kid or a young adult versus as an adult now. There's just so many people with so many opinions, and
Yeah.
yeah.
What were some big major events that happened in this town that you remember?
Hmm, that happened in this town.
Yeah.
Well, we had the fire at Conagra.
hmm
Conagra, caught on fire. Um, just one thing that happened while being in this community. I mean, it was a world. I mean, it happened. The 9/11 thing. I was
hmm
actually studying in class in gym class at Valley when we got the word, and then we turned on the TVs and just it was like an all day thing we watched.
hmm
But for the most part, here I don't really remember anything that's been huge. Other than buildings, like IGA getting tore down, or
hmm
Pizza Hut used to be on Odell, and now it's out by Walmart. Um, but other than that, I mean, the Hab Center was always a huge thing, and now it's gone. And
Yeah.
to get new schools, that's
hmm
that's a win for the community. But other than that, I can't really think of anything.
hmm Other than 9/11, were there any like world events that, like stuck out to you during your time living in Marshall?
No, I think 9/11's about the only
hmm
one. Just because I'm kind of bad with remembering like things.
hmm
Sometimes I try to put them out of sight, out of mind.
Uh, what advice would you give to young people growing up in this town today?
Um, First of all, embrace change.
hmm
We're all human, we're all different. You know, Empathy. Like, there's so many kids that are going through things. Life will get better, um, and you just have to take day by day. Um, but don't judge people until you actually know them.
hmm
You know, but also enjoy life, um, because in a blink of an eye, you're old. You know,
yeah.
like so enjoy the moments and take in every experience you can, because in a matter of time it'll be gone.
Hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your life or just the history of this town?
Mm. No, I feel like I've been blessed for 46 years.
Hmm.
I have good family, good friends, a good job. Um, you grow as a person, and I feel like through everything I've grown to be who I am, and I feel like I'm a very strong individual.
Hmm.
So that doesn't really have to rely on people. I can do it all by myself, but sometimes you do need help,
Hmm.
so it doesn't hurt to ask. So
Kind
yeah.
of going back on like when you were younger and having a job, when it comes to high schoolers, would you encourage them to have a job or kind of like enjoy your high school years a little bit more?
So I think every kid should have a job to learn
Hmm.
responsibility, because earning your own money, and seeing what things cost
Hmm.
and kind of appreciate it more, is good. Just because kids that maybe don't have a job and just get everything handed to them,
Hmm.
it's not going to help them down the road,
Yeah.
when things get hard and maybe those people aren't there anymore. Um, So definitely, and plus, I feel like when you earn your money and you pay for your own stuff,
Hmm.
you're you're more appreciative and you take care of things a little bit better. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, it's okay to enjoy your
Yeah.
high school life too, um, but um, but they're also, you kind of have to you know pick and choose too. You
Hmm.
know, your job's going to come first. But
That
yeah,
has all the questions.
all right. Well, thank you.
Hmm.